You are now listening to the podcast for geeks and the stuff they love, where each week we'll talk about everything from anime to movies, games, and prop collecting with the people who create and love it. I'm Jeromy.
I'm James.
And this is your Geek Fix. When I first started up, I turned on my computer, I should say. It asked me that question about Windows 11, and I don't know if that's popped up on yours, but and since it's a laptop and I don't use it that much, I was going back and forth. I didn't want to lose the opportunity because I do know that last time that's what they did. They took it away. So, and it says it'll work on it while your computer's running. That it won't interrupt anything you're doing. So I said, sure. So I did that, and I don't know if you can hear, but in case it does get into the podcast, the fan is like spinning super loud because I don't know what it's doing. But it must be really using up, some memories or something because it's kind of loud. So if that comes through, or if the quality doesn't sound as good as normal to people out there, that's part of what's going on. It's one of those things where I'm not sure if I regret it. I should probably do a thumbnail where I'm like. Something like that, and you're like all wise, like I don't know, but yeah. I don't know. I wish I had more time to research it, but supposedly it's going to be pretty good. I was reading through some of the criteria though that they had on the phone. I was just spinning through, seeing what exactly changed, what makes this so good, and it's stupid small things like you can change the color of the desktop. Well, I could do that before.
I know that they check to make sure that the hardware inside of your laptop is it's able to run Windows 11. So there are older computers that aren't able to run it. So if your fan is running quickly, it shouldn't be an issue because at least it should be strong enough.
It'll be compatible at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Upgrade yet.
I'm afraid I don't want to get locked out of certain features. I kept computers that were pretty questionable for years and was even using the old Internet Explorer because there were certain things that still allowed me to do. And this is why I don't like Mac products anymore is because I don't have that freedom.
If we're talking about old systems, I've got one of the original Apple Mac laptops down there.
Oh, do you really?
I was gifted. Yeah, I've never turned it on because I'm fairly sure it's broken or there's missing pieces, but I've got that back there.
Wow. Yeah,
and then old systems, I know that I've got upstairs. I think it's either a Windows Vista or a Windows XP, an old computer that's just never been upgraded.
Vista, that's awesome. I had the Windows 10 stuff, but the XP things, I think I kept XP through a majority of updates. And the risk is that you can supposedly get hacked easily, and there are backdoors things that are there, and their supports aren't there, and I get that, and I get that's the case here too. In my work, for example, we have to upgrade things in order to be able to maintain a certain level of security, but at the same time, that's part of what's happening on this laptop though. So.
I know that with because I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I've done a master's degree in cybersecurity, so I'm not fully following that path, but I do have a master's degree in it, and I know that specifically Windows products, the older versions have certain vulnerabilities that, for example, Samba or SMB, if anyone is interested, is extremely exploitable in older versions. Which one of the biggest hacks, the WannaCry cyber attack that happened a few years ago, was due to this. So they would infect a computer. From that computer, they would start infecting multiple others, encrypting everything due to that one vulnerability or that open vulnerability in
those exploits are pretty exploitable.
Oh yes, especially in older versions. So it is interesting to update, although it's also not interesting to update straight away because they either release something that is not being fully tested or has its own issues or whatever. So it's typically recommended to update a week or two after they have been updated so that they have enough time to patch anything that is broken.
Right. Well, I think that it's getting though to the point where regardless of what they do, and regardless of what safety, things you put into place, uh, you're not going to be fully. I mean, it's just impossible to get fully safe.
No, no.
Because programmers are always, and especially with everything being more digital as far as what you buy for your computer these days. I mean, it's not the days of buying a CD anymore and installing something. It's constantly open to the internet, and then they need their back door to be able to run certain updates or to add things and packets and check your packets and stuff like that.
No.
And that's just and you have one program alone that does that. That's a bad thing. But then you have hundreds of things that are running on the computer. Today, actually, the thing that we're working on today, or we're going out to film, has to do with the Flipper Zero. Do you have that?
Oh no, I don't have that, but I am interested in testing.
We got one, and it's terrifying what it can do. I mean, the main reason that we got it was actually my son got it, so this is not mine. Mm-hmm. But and I want to say, I mean, like my 16-year-old son was able to purchase this.
How much, if I may ask? Because
I think that they're at the time when he got his, and he got it with the development board. He didn't get like the silicon, covering and things like that, but he got all the wear for it. I think he got it for like 140 something.
Yeah, it's so cheap to get something so powerful.
It's so, I mean, unbelievably, scarily powerful. So just to give you anyone that's not aware of this or familiar with this is referred to as the Geek's hacker, or not the Geek's hacker tool. It's referred as the Geek's multi-tool. And it does do a lot of innocent things. I mean, I think that's the way that they try to sell it, is that they have where it can be its own Arduino board. Like you can create things you would do normally with an Arduino board. It's easily programmable. I mean, literally has the inputs at the top to stick things into. It has, you can play games on it, stuff like that. Innocent side. But then the rest of everything it does. Yeah. So for example, it only needs to come in contact with a credit card with a chip in it for less than a second. I mean, and I'm trying to experiment right now on just how close you have to get, but it will not only copy that information, but I mean, in the form that it needs to be able to emulate that card. And then you can go to any store and use that device and put it down, and it will make purchases off that card, regardless if that card is yours or not. That's one of the scarier things to me. But on the flip side, like it can easily hack. I mean, it's just too easy to use. And it does it so easily, smoothly. So we talked about packets and stuff like that before. I mean, like getting into the Wi-Fi anywhere, being able to change the password of that Wi-Fi, being able to move things around, and then all devices, being able to quickly access all devices, copy all the information from all those devices. It's, I mean, terrifying. That's scary stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, no, but that was
specifically with the Flipper Zero. Yeah, like it offers so much. Like as you say, that is just. It can be used in different ways. It can be used as like automation just to make your life easier. So it could be used like as a Swiss Army knife of different digital cards, or if you use, like for example,
you get into my car.
Yeah, if you go into a building that needs a specific like NFC cards or an RFID, sorry, like to scan and let you in, and you have multiple of these, and you just put it on your flipper and you just use that. Yeah. But then, as you say, the other part of it is you could be walking down the street or like a busy highway, and bump into someone specifically with the flipper in your hands, and they have their wallet in their back pocket, and then you've already got, depending on how close it is,
Presto.
You've already got their information.
Yeah. And it organizes all those credit cards for you.
and you can put a name for each and every one, exactly.
Yeah, efficiency for criminals. Yes, it's wild. Well, and anyone that has a Tesla, all that security is completely gone. I mean, this thing has so many, and you can go online and download more programs for it. But how many of those were related to Tesla stuff?
The other thing that they have that I made my own out of curiosity. It also can be used as a rubber ducky, a USB rubber
Oh
ducky,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
basically the concept is because I think it was done by Hack5. It's a USB that when you or a USB simulated or emulated device that when you plug it into your computer, the
Right.
computer thinks that it is a normal USB, like a normal keyboard, and
Yeah.
it will be able to do anything that a normal keyboard can do. So
Yeah.
you can prepare a script such that it can open up a web page and show,
Bad
like, for
USB.
example, yeah, bad USB,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it can show anything. But this flipper can also be used in that way. So it can
Yeah.
also be used to prepare, like you can use it for more harmless things, like just trolling whatever by showing an image of, I don't know, something stupid or
Yeah.
Rickroll or whatever. But you can also use it to prepare
Yeah.
remote access, such that that computer connects to something else, and then you can use that connection to copy files over, as you were saying before. And it's
Yeah.
very, very potent. And it's all in one device, and as you were saying earlier, for $150, it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, by itself, it's limited as far as being able to have Wi-Fi access, but it does have. So there's a development board that you plug into the top of it, which looks kind of ridiculous. I mean, that's a little harder to just stealthily get around with
Yeah.
because it does look kind of large and whatever. But on the flip side, I mean, yeah, once when you have that thing attached, it's unlimited who and what you can do things to. My concern is that, like I said, I mean, this is my, just when my kid was able to get a hold of this,
Yeah.
and I think there's only two groups of people that are going to be buying this. You got the people on the one end that naturally you're going to have the people that have malintent that are intentionally going to try and do something bad. And that's going to be there regardless. But then you have, I think, a lot of people, and probably a lot of young people who get it because they want to, show it off. They want to impress people. I mean, it's like doing a magic trick, kind of,
Yeah.
right? But every magic trick that you do has a felony charge tied to it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's dangerous, I think, in both directions. I don't see how somebody can have it and not accidentally end out doing. We put a lot of rules already in relation to this thing even being in the house. But on the flip side, I mean, a lot of things that he's doing too are kind of cool things. I mean, it does. If you want to take your automation and your non-automated stuff and be able to quickly tie them together, you can do it. The thing I was thinking of, remember in Iron Man 2 when he goes in, he's in the court and he pulls out the transparent phone device. That's what it reminds me of. Like, he's like, yep, I'm taking over your TV and now I'm putting this over here. Like, you can do that with this.
I absolutely love that scene, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that technology.
I really want to build one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. The augmented. I mean, we were able to do the augmented screen. That wasn't a problem when I was exploring all that back when it was a little bit more popular. The issue was where I'm going to fit all of the other stuff, from the power to things like that, because he only had that little thin area. But yeah, I'm sure the technology is getting there.
Oh yeah,
to be able to pull that off. I mean, the BlackBerry had only that little tiny area. Really, the workable pieces aren't that much of a board. You can stick all that stuff on. But speaking of which, you made an app. Can we talk about your app a little bit?
I did. It took a fair while. I only recently uploaded the install process the install process, but like the whole design process on the RPF. Just because I'd been working on it, like, as I say, for the last few months, and then I finished it or got to a point where I felt comfortable enough to show you and to start showing other people, and I thought I have to upload it so that other people, if they are interested, can learn about the process. So basically,
so tell us what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I decided that for the Pip-Boy, I was very happy after having the actual physical thing, and that the Fallout 4 companion app works really well and it looks really good on it. But I've always been more interested by the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas Pip-Boy sort of interface, and so I decided that I wanted to try and find something that was like that. And I did find something, and in the RPF, I uploaded, or I linked somebody. I think it was,
I saw that.
I don't know. I know he's Russian, most likely. That made an app very similar to what I have finally finished. but it wasn't compatible with my BlackBerry, so I decided to using that as a base, like trying to reference most of the design aspects. I ended up making my own with added extras and completely open to like future implementations. Like, for example, one of the things that he had that I decided not to copy was a world map, and also the being able to control the flashlight. But I thought that with my specific case, seeing as that it was going to go inside of the Pip-Boy, it wouldn't make sense to have the flashlight because it's covered, so you're not going to use it anyway. And the world map in my specific case, it could be implemented, but rather than wasting battery life on the BlackBerry having that on, I thought it would just be easier removing that and putting the weapons in, because I thought the weapons was like more nostalgic for me, I guess.
Right.
And then I thought I do enjoy the different themes that they had in Fallout 3 New Vegas, like that you could change it from the typical green or the nostalgic green to orange. I'm fairly sure they had purple. I know they had white. I'm fairly sure I'm missing another color, but I decided that I wanted to implement green and orange. They
had this color. Yeah.
But then the other ones I want to do at some point. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. And I also decided to implement a clock feature after mentioning it with you.
You incited me. I saw in your RPF.
Yeah. I did because that was your recommendation. Because it's really interesting, because if I wanted to leave it as an always on display sort of showpiece, then I could just have the clock feature and it would still look good. With the battery's percentage, because the BlackBerry being inside of there is very difficult to use certain features. So if I can just see the battery percent, I'll know when I have to plug it in and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But then it was a real hassle trying to get the shared preferences. So like without going too much into the Android development, I'm by no means or shape or form an Android developer. I was just interested in doing it, so I've learned the very bare basics.
I haven't installed it on this phone. Let me see if I can.
I've got it on this one as well.
Yeah, on your platform, but it goes. So it is ratio wise. It was, or at least when I downloaded it, I think it's ratio set, right? So
yeah, it's supposed to adapt
for the square aspect.
I'll open it here as well. It is more designed for the BlackBerry. Like when I was designing it in the Android Studio, it was always with that sort of shape. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it does rotate into it.
It does.
There you go. Oh, yeah. That's not too shabby. I like that. That's pretty good.
So, and then obviously whenever you change.
So for those of you that can't see what's going on,
yeah,
basically, so on our standard phones, the big difference between the BlackBerry and other phones is that it does have the square aspect ratio. That of course it makes it beautiful for doing things like the Pip-Boy, but on the flip side, it also his app also runs on my more standard size phone, and so. Yeah, it looks great, and the animation is great. Really like it.
The only thing is, if you go to the weapons tab, for example, I haven't made it so pretty on like this aspect. Like this is all a bit clumped together.
I gotcha.
Whereas if I
have some. There we go. Yeah. I like
It's an easy fix. It's just the version that I sent you and the version I've got installed here at the moment is limited in certain aspect ratios.
I mean, it's hard not to go through it. What's really exciting about what you've done is it gets you inspired or thinking. Yeah. It's like, there's, by the way, the clock and stuff, for example. One of the things I was just looking at, well, like with the radio, you've got, there's different apps out there that tap into the radio that's always going, that's out there, that's people are broadcasting constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You could also tap into that, so you can actually, you don't have to do anything unique. It just
you just
things
add
like that.
Like connect to one.
Yeah, you just need their link.
The only downside with that is that you'd either, like, depending on how you connect to it, you'd either need an internet connection.
You'd have to have it, yeah.
Which the Pip-Boy, in theory, wasn't going to be connected to any network, especially if you're out and about. I wouldn't put a SIM card in there. which is why I haven't thought about using the world map or GPS and stuff. But yeah, like it is certainly possible. Like if your main idea is to use it as like an app for your phone, which your main phone is going to have these connections, then by all means it can be used.
Well, and this could also even be used. Keep in mind that the new show that's coming out is pre Fallout 76, and most likely 3-4, somewhere between 3 and 4. So whatever Pip-Boy comes out from that, you've got something working already for this. You know,
if my app ends up being used on the TV show, I would be more than ecstatic.
Well, I was just thinking more like there's going to be a Pip-Boy, and somebody, if anything, I really want to be one of the first ones to replicate whatever they make. You can make it functional using this.
Oh yeah,
on whatever. Certainly. I don't know what screen size that thing's going to have. Although, like you said in one of the episodes, maybe it'll turn out all they're going to use is just a phone. They're just going to be walking around. Oh, I got to check my Pip-Boy. It should be disappointing.
I'm still really looking forward to the show.
Oh, me too. That'd be awesome. This is so cool, though. So, can you tell us a little bit about like what you used and how you got into it, as far as like to develop it?
Yeah. So, I downloaded Android Studio Development, so I can send you a link to that. It's just if you literally search Android Studio Development, you download the Android platform. And the Android platform is relatively easy to use. If you've done any coding, it's relatively easy to understand. When you first decide to start making your application, it asks you if you're interested in using one of two programming languages. Either you use Java, which is mainly is used pretty much everywhere, or you can use Kotlin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, which I've only ever seen for Android app development. I don't know if it's typically used in other places, but I decided to use Kotlin in the end. I started with Java, but I thought I saw so much more information readily available with Kotlin, so I decided to switch over to that.
Kotlin? I hadn't heard of that one before.
Kotlin, I think. And... So I had to try and find all of the resources necessary to make the app. So all of the icons, all of the animations, all of the sound effects, etc. And then it was just literally having both the actual using the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas games, having it on one screen, and having the Android Studio on the other one, and then having this other person's app on a third screen. Trying to look at all three just to try and make it as accurate as possible. Wow. And then the actual development part is relatively easy. It's just so most of the things there are on the screen are buttons. So it's whenever this button is pressed, do this action.
This does that. Yeah. Okay.
So my code, if anyone receives the app and then decides to undo it,
decompile it.
To decompile it. You'll see it's not the most optimal code. I'm sure it can be done a lot better. But at the moment it's functional, and seeing as it's not an app that needs to be doing too much, it shouldn't be a problem for now. I can always optimize it more, but I haven't got around to it. But it's basically when you push this, it will do that. So for example, the 5 bottom buttons, the screen is actually divided into 3 different sections. So you've got the top bar, where you have the stats, the item, and the data information. Because if you notice, when you go between the bottom stats and weapons, for example, the top bar changes. It doesn't have your player name and stats. It puts the weight and caps and so on.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you go to the last one, if you go to radio, it also changes to megaton and the date.
Great.
So that top bar is one view. Then the middle section where you have most of the content is another view, and then the bottom section where you have the 5 different button selectors is another one. So when you push a bottom button, you have to change the information in the middle, and depending on which bottom button you press, you also have to change the top
by
one.
The way. See?
I really like the orange theme.
Yeah. So 2 requests I keep on getting. No matter how many times I tell people where to find or how to find the existing, the Fallout 4 app, I still get people that are asking, well, where's the Fallout 76 app, and then And then on top of that, when will I make a Pimp Boy? Right, which would be it is this one, isn't it? It's the New Vegas orange.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the Pimp Boy had? Yeah. So so there it is right there. That'd be one of your first steps to it. Get that, get your 3,000, bedazzle it, and you're done.
Pimp it out, yeah.
Yeah. So there is a event this upcoming year. But if you guys could come out for it, I think you'd actually really like it.
I think we're talking about the Good Springs event.
Yeah.
I would love to.
They're going to move it to a cooler time of the year. So one of the main people that organizes that and that's been involved with that from the beginning, which has only been 1 year so far, but they have been contacting me and asking me over and over again if we're going to go or if I'm going to do something and things. And this upcoming year I will. And I said, I just think it's too hot. And they said, well, we're having it later in the year. Because I could tell people were probably dying in some of those outfits.
Yeah.
In the middle of summer in Nevada. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, stuff like this, that would be the best time to have a Pimp Boy. I will get a hold of a 3,000 case. Actually, I have a 3,000 case that would be perfect for it. That we could upgrade and take it in there and somebody could wear that. But yeah, we'll have to coordinate that. See if there's any possibility of it.
We'll have to wait for the show to finally come out as well, because as you were saying in a previous
what is the date on that? Do you know the date?
No.
I haven't been watching it closely.
No.
I mean we know it's in production, so it can't be too far away.
No.
But let's see if we can break it on we'll break the news right here on our podcast as fast as it's been placed on the internet, and I looked it up. TV show. The problem is there's a TV show that was made for Netflix called Fallout. So now every time I try and type that in, it's one of the first things that comes out at Amazon. It is supposed to be an Amazon thing.
The only thing I can see is 2023.
Oh, really? Is that what it says?
Yeah, release date 2023 in the United States. It doesn't say much more on IMDb.
Yeah. No, you're right. I love the people that are in it, though. They are actually all people that I watch. I've watched other shows that have them in them. So, but it almost feels like it might also take on a Walking Dead look. I mean, if you look at who's in it and the way that they look,
yeah,
it kind of looks like early days Walking Dead. But at any rate, but yeah, I mean, hacking, Windows 11, Flipper Zero, app development, we covered it all in this one. So
varied.
That's right. If you've developed something, if you're a developer of apps and have insight into new cool devices, or you have something yourself that you want to share, please do so by emailing it to us at gmail.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast and want more, stay tuned for that, but also check out our channel, join the community on YouTube that goes by the same name, Your Geek Fix. Check out James at Mr. Malto4 on Instagram and the Replica Prop Forum. We also want to hear from you, so be sure to send your questions, stories, and other projects to yourgeekfix@gmail.com. In the meantime, this has been Your Geek Fix.